it wants to see greener pasture. So that was what prompted me to go to Libya to help myself and my family.
Yeah, once upon a time in my life, after I graduated from university and looked for a job, that was 2003, 2004, so let's say about 15 years ago, I was frustrated in this country, Nigeria, and the option was to leave this country. Someone who was very close to me, that actually meant well for me, but didn't know that it was going to turn out to be like that. He volunteered to help me, paid, through him, we paid for we got the visa, he brought the package for me, that is the passport and everything for me. And when I got to the airport, at the point of getting my boarding pass, I was told by someone that is attending to me at the British terminal that I should wait for the British High Commission. I said, "What? I don't have any business with the British High Commission." That was where the whole thing started from. And if not for the assistance of some security agents around that even helped to, confirm that there was a problem and that I should leave, maybe I would have been in trouble because it's an offense the other way around. And I couldn't even, and you can find out that a lot of people are involved in that racketing. There was the time some officers were even involved, that they are going to come and clear me, that a lot of people travel like that, that was the story. But due to the desperation, and I had made up my mind I was going to leave this country, I was still not comfortable where I was. The issue was that I didn't even go back home because I had lost a lot of hope, and I was looking for alternative. I had complained to my relatives, my sisters and friends around. They were consoling me, "Don't worry, you can still make it." But it was so fast that within 24 hours, I got an option. And the option was that there are a lot of people who want to leave this country, that they are waiting, that they are going to Spain, that when they get to Morocco, and they're going to pick them with flight. And being that I was desperate at my state that time, I was ready for anything. And my one was to leave this country.
Yeah, I knew someone there. She is a sister to my friend. It was my friend that introduced me to her. That was 2015, and that was when I went there.
Only to move down from Lagos to Asaba. Getting there, saw some persons actually they were waiting to travel. They said they were waiting for me. So I was able to quickly mop up, get some of the funds that I've already paid. They gave me some part of it, and I left Asaba. Got in there. They said they were waiting for me. I said, "Okay, that we are leaving soon." They said, "What kind of journey?" They said, "Well, that we are leaving is going to be, we're going to enjoy it." It's only to find myself in Kano with them, and we started hearing that somebody was going to carry us, somebody was going to take us, that we should cooperate, we should be our brother's keepers. When I became, initially I suspected something when I saw that they were trying to unite us before leaving. They were giving us water to drink, that we should not betray ourselves and everything. I was wondering what kind of journey that would require not betraying ourselves. But what I found out from there was that once you are desperate, you are vulnerable, you fall into a lot of traps. You'll be able to, they can sell anything to you and you will buy. You understand? So I found myself in that place because they've already seen that this guy is no more here. He wants to leave at all costs. And I went. That was how I found myself in the land of no return, which is Sahara Desert, on my way to Europe.
I think we spent like 4 days in Agadez. Then from there, Elox came to convey us to Gatron in Libya, and that was where the journey started. The Elox that took us, the driver allowed the ladies to sit beside him while the guys should sit at the back, but unfortunately for me, I couldn't get to the front seat, so I was asked to sit with some other girls with the guys at the back. And sitting there was just very risky because of the way we're packed. We're like 30 to 40, if I'm not mistaken. So we just had to hold some sticks to support ourselves. So when we left Agadez and we're going, before we got to the first checking point, we heard some noises and everybody was like, what's happening, what's happening? By the time we got to the checking point, we saw a corpse lying down. I asked what happened. They said the guy fell from the Elox and the driver did not wait. So that was how the guy lost his life. And that was how our journey changed. Everybody became moody, became sad. We were trying to cheer ourselves, but it was not working. We kept going. We spent like 4 days in the desert.
Well, it was from there we made arrangement to leave, to embark on the journey. That in 5 days' time we'll be in Spain. That is going to be a very short trip. That is going to be a form of tourist journey. And when we now got to Asaba, we left for Kano. It was from Kano we now moved towards Nigerian Republic, where you have Zindane, Agadez, and we now embarked. But when we got to Agadez, that was where I found out that the journey is not actually what the narration is different from what I'm experiencing. Somebody who actually wanted to use us to get to perfect his trade.
Only God knows how the driver was able to concentrate and everything. We just kept going, vast land, sand, and we saw some corpses, we saw dry bones, we saw we were attacked by rebels. Our driver had to hide us somewhere, and that was just it till we got to Gatron. And when we got to Gatron, some of my friends that I met say they will be going to Italy from there. That's their destination. They wanted to be a nurse or something. So I got their contact. I wrote it on a piece of paper to contact them later. Then I slept at Gatron. I spoke with the lady I was going to meet. She said there's no problem. Then from there we went to Sabah. When we got to Sabah, that was when I started hearing some stories of people that were living in Libya. I met some Yoruba guys. I was flowing with them, and they were like, "What are you doing here?" So I spoke with them. Then I knew that the two major jobs in Libya was just prostitution or work as a maid. But my mind was already made up that I'm going here. I'm going. The lady I'm going to meet, I actually trust her. So we slept like 2 to 3 days there in Sabah before we went to Tripoli. When we got to Tripoli, I met the lady. She's a very nice person. She welcomed me. She gave me food, shelter, I ate. I called my parents, and that was the first time my mom knew that was by road. So we spent like 17 days there.
The journey from Kano to Zindane, which I never knew how it was until I embarked on it. First of all, at the park, we were told to buy gari and spaghetti, biscuits, and that was where I asked them, how should I buy? You told me it was a tourist journey, and in tourist movement, you are supposed to get to a hotel and sleep. You understand? So at the end of the day, I got to what do you call it? I bought it. Actually, cooperated and bought it. We moved from Kano to Zindane. Took almost a whole day because of the kind of transportation they used there. In those days, it was this old 504 wagon. Got there. When we got to Zindane, they brought us, some people came to receive us. They put us in one house. It says an alhaji, we paid. We were there for some days before they connected us again. From there, about 5-7 days. For me, the connection houses, they're like goat houses. They just put somebody in an old mud house. There is an open house where you see different people. Just have a corner where you stay. Maybe you put if you have a blanket or a mat, you put it there, your wrapper, you put it on your side until the day they said you are going to embark on the journey. And what is common there is at the end of the day they have a common place, maybe a place where they cook for everybody every day, maybe at times once or twice a day. And because you have paid, you are entitled to eat. I think one of the idea of the connection house too is that the person that is in charge or who is whom you are taking refuge in this connection house gives a kind of protection to the people who are being either trafficked or being smuggled. Protection in the sense that normally in such country, police look out for such people. But at the end of the day, because of the money that is being paid to them, they have a way of settling police. So police will, mind their own business, and the business of the smugglers and traffickers will be booming. Because I remember one occasion in the night, we tried to separate ourselves from people going to connection house, and we found out that very late in the midnight, they said some Moroccan buggers, those people who carry people to Morocco, came in with guns into the hotel, started busting the rooms, and started fighting, collecting money from people, and everybody woke up and ran out.
We got there, she told me I was going to start job the following day. I was like, because I have ulcer, so I was like, I have stomach upsets. She should let me heal first from starving. She was like, no, I need to start paying now money. I said, how much am I paying? She said, because I'm like a sister, she was going to collect me 4,002 dinar. I said, fine, because others were paying like 6,000, 7,000 dinar. Approximately 1,000 dinar is 100,000, so that was like 500,000 naira, approximately. So I said, fine. Then I started work the following day. The family I first worked with, the wife is nice, the husband is a little bit crazy. So I just tried to adapt to their culture. I learned the language within 1 month because they don't speak English, and the only way to just try and relate with them is by speaking the language. So the language actually helped me a lot. I worked with them for like 2 months. Then I left that family because of the stress. I was working from like 7 to 12 a.m. I couldn't cope. I was just falling sick. So she got me another family to work with. The house was smaller and they were nicer. So I stayed with them till I was able to complete our money.
We left Agadez and ended up in Duruku. There's a military camp. But before we got there, it was hell. That military camp is also a place where you see a lot of stranded Nigerians, people that have been abandoned, people that have been on the road for 1 year, at times 6 months, 8 months. They didn't have money to embark. You spend some days also in Duruku. You continue again, before you get to the first state in Gatron. That will take you a lot of days. And those are the areas where we saw a lot of terrible people. Some people have run mad. They tell you, if you came in from Nigeria, you see them, when you know how a mad person looks like, you notice that people, all in the name that they are going to Europe, they became mad on the way. You see some of our girls are being raped even by these rebels and these soldiers in the camp. So it's a whole lot of terrible experience that happens on transit, especially in the Sahara Desert. Yeah, most times expectations were cut short, not what they were told they saw on the road. Like I was told that I was going to go to Morocco in the next 5 days, and ended up in the desert, spent 7 days in Zinden, spent another 5 days in Agadez, got to Duruku. Before I got to Duruku, spent 8 days. In Duruku, we spent another 5 days, and I'm still on the road. So for someone who is not able to control his or her emotions, a lot of things could go wrong. And your family, you must have promised them, or they must have had a lot of high hopes in you that you're already in Europe, because nobody knew I was actually going to go through the desert.
Well, people who have been victims of trafficking can experience a wide range of mental health problems or psychological problems, as it were. And it will range from what we refer to as post-traumatic stress disorders, which is commonly seen in people who have experienced life-threatening events that may have threatened their own existence, or may have actually witnessed other people being victims of such events.
common symptoms, challenges for persons who have been trafficked are there's fear, which is the most common, and basically we don't see it that way. So we have fear, we have anger, we have some form of disorder, we have anxiety, and we have depression. It's very important to start from counseling, which is the most common way of helping them. Though sometimes they are advised to take medication, but personally we don't advise medication because there are side effects that comes with this. But when you take them through the process of counseling, we need to know which is rooted. Is it the fear? Now, fear could be as a result of how they were being trafficked.
Sometime 2010 August, it was long vacation day. I was in SS2, going to my SS3, about to write my WAEC. So I said to look for where my mom is staying because she relocated. I don't know where she was staying. I never grew up with her. So eventually I located where she was staying, and I found out that she was in a bad condition with 2 kids, twins with her, and her husband was nowhere to be found. So as a first child, I said to disturb her that anywhere she was working or she's working, let me help her to work so that I can earn some money for her to take care of herself and the children. So she was like, no place, that she doesn't have any specific work for now. And at that process, she met her pastor and discussed the issue to her pastor. And the pastor goes to like, wow, so you have a grown-up girl like this, then no problem. That she liked my courage and my zeal to help my mom out. That she has a place in East Lagos for marketing work, like a supermarket work like that. So I said no problem. But 2 days later, she called my mom and like, no, that the place will not work again, but there's another place at Kano. So no, as a young girl, I was so excited. I like, wow, excursion. And I told my mom that, wow, at least first time in my life, I'm going to change environment again.
Some 10 years ago, there were 2 categories of traffickers. Family members, aunties, friends or families, and then some husbands, okay, who felt that they've had the number of children they wanted to have. And because they were very poor, there was no reason why their wives could not go abroad and make money and come back and make their lots better. That was 10 years ago. But today, you see, the syndicate or the organization has become so sophisticated. In addition to having family members and friends, we also have people who are traffickers on their own, who buy people to be trafficked. So these ones are more or less like businessmen. So they can get in touch with maybe students who are agents for them in the universities, in secondary schools, in these places where you guys go to, where you go to browse, cafes, cyber cafes, okay? So they try to, groom, ingratiate themselves into the people they meet in some of these places, bars, clubs, okay? And then once they ingratiate themselves, and then they try to now tell the people that there is so much money to be made if you become an agent. So you're more or less an agent to the traffickers. So these are the people who now lure their friends or other people into trafficking rings. They sell you to these people. So if, for instance, I'm an agent, I can sell a friend to them for, say, 100,000. And for a student who is in the secondary school or university, 100,000 naira is a lot of money. So you sell it to them, they pay you cash on delivery. Then the person is lured into believing that they are going abroad for further studies, they are going abroad either to become a hairdresser, they are going abroad to be a cosmetologist, people who do makeup and things like that. In fact, there's a new one now, they are going abroad to tie gele. Okay? There's plenty of money in gele tying, especially in destinations where you have a large population of Nigerians.
So 2 days later, I embarked on the journey the pastor introduced me to Elijah assigned a guy took me to Kano. Along the line, when we got to Ibadan, I realized the guy picked 3 ladies. It was a night journey. The following day, we got to Kano at about 5 to 6 p.m. When we got to Kano, we rested. The young man made some calls, which we don't know what the calls are about. Shortly after, a golf car came and he told us that you should enter the golf car. So we entered. 2 ladies also joined us. So I was actually thinking that it's normal transit that somebody used to board for the last destination. Little do I know. So when we entered, the young man said that is the last destination we are going now. So as we're going, I asked us, are we not getting to our destination again? He said, this is not Lagos. No, this place you have to pass through some bushes and all those things. So around 7, I tried to pick my touchlight phone to call my mom. I asked that the phone have changed from MTN to Laurent. I said, this is French. Where are we? The driver tuned his radio to radio FM to radio, and they were speaking French. I'm like, hey, what is going on? Before I know, they collected my phone. They locked the door. I was the only one talking. Nobody said anything. The rest of the ladies were just quiet. All my thought is that I've been kidnapped.
So you can start your journey with a group, say in Nigeria, and by the time you get to Italy, you've passed three or four different groups. Each one is a group, and each one makes a profit. So it is real. It is a trade in human commodity. Human beings have become commodities to be traded and retraded. So these are different types. So you have those who are actually the madams on their own. Then you have those who call themselves businessmen, okay? Whose commodities, the businesses they do are human beings. They trade in human beings. And when you see them, you won't know them. Because these guys are well dressed. They drive fast cars, okay? And they check out places where young people check out, okay? And young people are easily carried away by some of these, razzmatazz.
Before we know, they change us from that same vehicle to another vehicle, from one vehicle to another vehicle too. We got to a particular checkpoint where soldiers were there, and they asked in French, where is your passport? While to my greatest surprise, I saw those ladies bringing out their passport. I was like, I just want to open my mouth and tell them that I am before I said kidnapped, dirty slap, I fainted. And before I know, I met myself in a very big building with a lot of girls inside. I was trying to ask what is going on. Nobody could tell me anything. Everyone was just quiet, worried. And inside that same building, I met 2 guys that were speaking English, and I approached them. I asked them, please, this place is for what? They're like, don't they tell you what they carry for? I said, no. I said, then they can't be in that position to tell me. I should just be patient. I will go to know what I am here for. I said, okay. And 2 days later, they took us out of that building to sit there, where we meet another set of ladies there. Then that particular time, I remember when I went to the Alaja's house, I saw a daughter there. So to my greatest surprise, I saw the same lady there with some gallant ladies. I was trying to approach her and greet her. She stopped me, and she never met me before. No, I was shocked. Then the young man carried me along, I should just mind my business, nothing concerned with anybody. And from there was 18-seaters bus with some cars ready to convey the girls. They said we are going to the next destination, Agadez. It was a terrible journey because rebels attacked us on the road, shooting gun. First time in my life I saw bullets face to face, but we escaped. And before we could get to Agadez, the the war was too much. Then the driver dropped every one of us and asked us to hide inside camels. Going to Agadez, they took us to, everybody now went to the various buildings, and my own group, we were about 20 something there, close to 30. And then I got to know that we were being trafficked, and the work we are going to do is prostitute. You know, I was so scared because I was a virgin there, and I now called the attention of the guy that I was following from Nigeria. I said, why can't you tell me or my mom that this is what they're taking me for? He said he cannot tell me because if he talks, his own life is at stake and his wife. And I said, do you know that I'm a virgin? He said, how can you be a virgin as big as you are? I said, I'm a virgin. I've never met any man before. So even though there was a time that they were short of money, they were using the girls for prostitute on the road to earn money. They will lock me inside the house so that nobody will come and harm me or do anything negative to me. We spent like 2 weeks in Agadez. Then they said we are going to another place called Duroko. Inside that, this time around, they are passing through the main desert. And lo and behold, there's a place like a market square in that Agadez. I met a lot of ladies. The first question that came to my mind is there still girls in Nigeria? Because they are just too much. After some hours, they began to load us like cows inside the trailer to convey us. You know, first time in my life, I climbed the big trailer. Somebody have to push me inside because I cannot climb. And we were just being tight inside that place, nowhere to sit. You will stand, sun. No, it was so terrible with the sun in the side and the cold inside. And this guy, like, God just used them for me. They said, don't worry, that they will be there for me. And even if I need to sit down, there's a way they will arrange themselves for me to sit so that I won't be affected because of the gallop. And the trailer run as if it's not human being that's inside the vehicle. So if sometimes the trailer will run, enter big gallop, you that are not having that stamina, if you fall, you didn't survive it, they will just throw your things down and leave you there.
Like I said, at the point for in every journey, in that journey, if you don't have money, you are stranded. If you don't have money, you're stranded. When we left in a group, but when we got to a point in the desert, like I had left so many people that we embarked on the journey from Kano together. They were all dropped in, they were all getting stranded. I remember at a point where we got stopped during my time, and we saw a lot of clothes and bags, and we saw a well. A lot of people were jubilating because we had issues with the truck that was carrying us. And people were saying that only for the Chad driver that was carried us, said that place, they buried a lot of Nigerians there, that they got stuck, they missed their way, and out of starvation and dehydration, most of them died. That's why they were buried, so they had to put a well there because of the water issue. You know, and when you get to the well, you even notice that there are a lot of skeletons around and everything. You know, and these are people who either they are being smuggled or they are being trafficked or they are traveling in mostly Nigerians and West Africans. You know, so we were able to pass through that place because we had to leave the truck and trek to the point that I told myself that I prefer to die even in the desert than even. There was a time they left me. You know, at the point of there's one town they call Tijeri. Tijeri is before Gatron. You know, when they released us from the camp they put us. My people, the crew I was with, they started trekking. But some of them, because some of them are used to the route, they normally come to Nigeria, bring people to Libya, come back. So they have mastered the whole journey. They left me, and I was exhausted. I didn't have water. I told them, I said I preferred the Libyan police to come and carry me here than for me to continue this journey. Only for me to stay. Then if you see me, my stomach was almost at my back. So after about 2 hours, 3 hours, one of them returned with water picked me up. We now started trekking until we get to the first state in Libya, which is Gatron.
Then there was one that was at work. There's a number called me. I picked, who is this? It was a guy, and I speak Arab fluently. I was like, Shiniada. Said they've kidnapped my sisters. I was like, kidnap how? So they now gave the ladies phone. Those are my roommates. So I spoke with them. They said they've arrested them, that police came to the house, arrested them, packed all the monies and stuff. Like, try and come and bail them. I was like, there's no way I'm coming there to bail you people. They will arrest me also. So I spoke with my boss. She then spoke with her husband. Her husband now followed me, bailed them. 1,000 dinar, that was 2,000 dinar. The two ladies came back home. So I just had to work for the family to repay them. So after that, I now stopped my work to everyday work. I didn't want to stay with any Arab family again because of sexual harassment and stuff. So I would go in the morning and come back in the evening, go in the morning and come back in the evening. There was this guy I was dating there. So I explained to him that my trauma, that there's no way only me will stay in Libya, in my house. Constant harassment every day. Police will keep arresting me and stuff. He asked me to move into his house. I said, fine, I'll move in. Then I got pregnant. And when I got pregnant, I was still going to work. He asked me to stop working. I said, there's no way I'm going to stop working because I actually needed money to go back to Nigeria. When it was February ending, the two girls now said they want to go to the market to buy stuffs for the birthday. I said, fine, because of my pregnancy, let me just stay at home. I was like 3 months plus there. Now let me just stay at home and cook for them. So then I cooked. I cooked beans, and beans take like 1 hour, 2 hours. Within 1 hour, they were supposed to be back. I didn't see them, so I ate. I watched the movie. Then I slept. I woke up around 5. I went downstairs. I didn't see these girls. That was when I knew something was wrong. So the other lady, I called the sister immediately. Like, I've not seen your sister. She and our friend went to the market. So I just started calling their numbers. The number was ringing. They were not picking. I called everyone I knew in Libya that something is wrong. Everyone came to our house and was, what's happening? I said, I don't know. These two guys went to the market for the past 5 hours. I've not seen them.
At a point, even the trouser I was putting on, it Sancho's trouser I was putting on, and my bag I was carrying, I was having a chain, I was having a Sancho's shoe and a silver chain. I dashed it to one rebel who protected me. And the rebel soldier and took me as a friend. He understands English a little bit, and removed me from the people they were beating and they were messing up. You know, some of our guys that they have raped, some guys that they can, if you don't have enough money, they can shoot you on your leg. The agent is a brother to the person in Spain that we put us in the house and give us job. That was all. I've never met him before. I don't know him before. It was because of that job. The information I had then that he just finished school as well. You know, I didn't probe further to know his further level or what he was doing because, like I said, my condition then was not to even ask much questions, and I think that was why I felt so much into their hands. Because there was a lot of lack of information and a lot of ignorance then on my own side. We left ourselves at a particular time because we had a very strong battle. Two of us. When I noticed that a lot of people that he took were already stranded, and I was just surviving because I had my money with me. At the time, we had a very serious issue that it was God that did not allow us to make it physical. So we separated our ways. You know, he went his ways, I went my way, but that was almost in Libya. Then I found my way to Tripoli after a lot of suffering. I had to leave him. So I made an arrangement from there, went to Tripoli. It was from Tripoli that I now tried to see if I could cross, and found out that it was not a journey that I could further. So I decided to return back.
There's a place called Durugu Desert. It's a ghetto desert. That place, you choose the kind of life you want to live. They will teach you all kind of matter of bad life there. Smoking, all sorts of things there. So I think the first day we got there, the first experience I had there was a soldier stabbed a lady to death. Why? The lady as in the soldier slept with her, and the young lady was asking for her savers just for her to buy food to eat. So out of anger, the soldier stabbed her, and nobody could say anything, no attack the man. So we spent 2 weeks also in Duruku Desert. After 2 weeks, 2 healers came in, and they were like, people going to Libya, come out. They began to mention them. Luckily, my name and that same lady name with other people name were there. And when we got to the place where we load us, they load us like chicken, like sardine. If you sit, there's the way they arrange it, the healers. If you sit at the back of healers, another person sit on your lap, another person, they will end up loading like 35 people inside one healers. And I sat at the edge because I was a little bit weak there. I could not struggle for the good place to sit. We proceed the journey, and then I told him that this journey is from this particular one is more dangerous than the previous one. That this one we're going to pass through Sahara Desert, and along the line our water got finished. It was remaining little. Everybody were crying for survivor. Then they have to mix petrol and water for everybody to be drinking. They mix it. They were taking small so that it can go around for us to just have that taste in our throat. So we took it like that. We were like, oh, if we survive it, fine. In that journey we lost about 4 pieces in that same journey because of lack of water, eat, and like that.
Around 7, 8, someone picked. It was a guy. I spoke with the guy because I was the only one that speak Arab. He said that they've kidnapped my sisters. I was like, kidnapped? He said yes. I said, how much do they want? They said they want 1,000 dinar. I was like, 1,000 dinar is a token that I'll bring the money tomorrow. They said fine. They gave me the address. So after the call, I told them that I was going to go and give them 1,000 dinar. Everyone said they are not going. So I called my taxi man that I need his help the following day. The taxi said I should not worry, that I should just come with the money. So the taxi man was with gun and cutlass, that when we get there, he's going to, because from the way I spoke with those guys on phone, I knew they were black, they were not Arabs. So we just felt that it's something we could handle. So when we got to that place at Kubu Shainat, I called. They kept postponing time, said they will come. And after then my driver suspected that something was wrong. Immediately he just said that let him start the car and go. That was how they just blocked us at the front and the back, guys, with guns, as in guns, something I've never seen before.
We had a ghastly accident on top of some group of persons that have died in that desert. All I could remember is I drew myself out in the midst of people. That was all I can remember. Before I know, they've torn my clothes, poured me water, praying in different types of language. And they said the first thing I said out was, where is my mom? I want to see my mom. Then from there, we proceed to Gatron, downtown of Libya. When we got to Gatron, after some days again, when we got to Gatron from Sahara Desert, somebody had already gotten there before from Tripoli and brought some medicine for the treatment, because they also told them concerning the accident that happened in the desert. And from there, they conveyed us to Muzuk. From Muzuk, in a big building like that, they began to push some of us to Tripoli. They brought in different men for them to dissuade me. I refused, but after they pushed those ones that they have been like my backbone to Tripoli, fortunately, around that September, I was just sleeping innocently. Unexpectedly, I just saw the empty man on me, struggling and beating me, and he succeeded in raping me, because that's how I was able to cover my mouth so that my voice won't be heard and nobody came for my rescue.
Crossing the Mediterranean Sea, and with the experience I got staying there for some weeks, I found out that a lot of people could not make it. A lot of boats were capsizing, and people were returned back half alive. Either they have issue through the rescue boat, And some, they will tell you some boat did not enter, that they are nowhere to be found. So I asked myself a question. I left Nigeria on a well-dressed, and as at the time I was getting to the Mediterranean Sea, I was only putting on a boxers and a singlet. And coming back was like we're enjoying, we're in heaven because nobody was harassing us. But going was hell. Libya was like hell, and then it was the time of Maman Gaddafi, where people said Libya was good. When I went to one of the Sabah cafe in Sabah, I was to send a message to my people after about 3 months that they have not heard from me, that look at where I am, or that they should not panic. This. I just sat down. The next thing I saw was these Arabs coming to the Sabah cafe to spray this what do you call it? This air freshener that Africans and blacks are smelling and this. So that was where I sensed that this place is not a place to stay, especially the country. And the way I noticed they were chasing, when they chase blacks, and they're after Nigerians. When they chase blacks, if they meet Ghana, Nigeria, Senegalese, and Congo, they will leave those people and hold Nigeria. And when they hold Nigeria, they will break their legs. So I found out, I said, this is not a country. What brought me here? How did I get here? So that experience at the Sabah Cafe, I left not up to 2 seconds. They came with a black Maria to come and pick everybody in that Sabah Cafe.
They just dragged me out of the car, and I was not showing. I was not showing at all. They dragged me out. They beat the driver. They broke his windscreen and stuff. People were just looking. Passerby were looking. No one could say anything. So they just pushed me inside their own. They came with tinted car. They pushed me there. They were 3 number with guns and uniform. But I knew it was just fake uniform. They were not real police. So they took me to a place like Tejura. They took me to a place, Tejura. When I got there, it was very big. They called the place Sharika. There were prostitutes were there. Arab people were walking and stuff. I could not even cry because I was in shock. That was happening. I came here to rescue people. They collected my phone. The money that was in it, they collected everything. How will I contact my family? Am I going to give birth to this baby? My mind was just running through a lot of stuff. Okay, what do I do? When we got there, I saw Nigerians and Nigerians. It was not even Arab people. So, but I pretended as if I don't speak Arab very well. That was not very fluent, so I could hear everything they were saying. When one of the prostitutes I saw there, she's a Benin lady. So I talked to her in English that, please, have you seen any girl, 2 girls? One is dark, one is fair. She said yes, that they sold them out yesterday. I said, what? They sold these girls already and they deceived me here. She now said I should not worry, I should just be patient. So those guys came. They said I should eat. I said, I'm not starving. I want to see my sisters. You collected money from me. But that was how they brought out this extension wire. Beat me that I should call my family and stuff. I said, there's no way I'm going to call my family. I know the situation of things in my country. Where will my mom get 500,000 naira for to now start sending? I said, I'm not doing anything. So I think the gang leader now came. I was now talking to the guys that they should not worry, that they've called the person that is going to buy me. I heard that one in Arab, that they've called the person that was going to buy me. That was when I knew that I just had to leave this place, and it was already very late. So they now moved me to a place where they moved me to 6 Arabs were there with guns. That those ones should watch over me and stuff. Okay, so those Arabs now said I should clean the house. I said I cleaned the house for them. Then they went out, they got food. I actually ate because I was starving, so I ate. Then one of the Arabs now said I should strip myself. I said I'm not stripping myself, that I'm pregnant. He said it's a lie. So now, because there we always wear this black big clothes. So I now remove my clothes, I remove my inner wear. I said she should see my stomach, that I'm pregnant, that I feel bombino. So he said it's a lie. I said she should touch it, that I'm pregnant, that there's no way I'm going to allow any one of them to touch me. So that was why he slapped me and kicked me. Then his friend now said she should stop, that is haram, like it's a sin to beat a pregnant woman. That's how they left me. So angrily they now left the house. The minute they left the house, I stood up, that let me see if I can escape. But I noticed that everywhere there's CCTV camera everywhere. So definitely they are somewhere watching me. There's no way to jump, so I just sat there. They came back with those Nigerian guys. They came, the money they collected from me, they shared it, they were happy, they were dancing, shooting on there and stuff like that. So they now handed me over to the Nigerian guys. And I went to that Sharika with them, where they sleep. So I couldn't sleep. I was just thinking, I couldn't even cry because I couldn't believe what was happening. But I was just this adamant that anything that is going to happen, let it happen. If it's to kill someone, I'm going to kill someone.
And after some days, They pushed me down to Tripoli with the rest of the people, the Ogas. Well, from Tripoli, they pushed me down to Zuara. They hand over me with the man that bought me. His name is Gani. And he said, I'm going to start work immediately. And I told him that, so I'm not feeling fine. I'm in pains and I'm bleeding. I know that I'm on messes. I'm sure you have heard that I was raped. He said that was none of his business. I'm going to pay him 3,000 US dollars. Before I know, they collect my frontal part hair, my armpit hair, my nails, like that. I said, since I refuse to do this work, they will get me no other way around. Still, they tried. It never worked out. That one fateful night, a Sudan man came that I want to spend the night. Then they assigned me to the Sudan man, and when the Sudan man touched my body, it was so hurt. And we're like, are you not feeling fine? I said, yes, I'm not feeling fine. And I begged him that, please, I just want to make off his phone to call my mom. He said, no, that they don't allow phone for any of the connection girls. I said, no, I'm not a connection girl. I'm just a girl. I begged him and I promised him that I will not tell anybody. So he allowed me to use this phone. That was how I was able to call my mom, told her what the pastor has deceived us and especially me to do in Libya, that I'm here doing prostitute work. But she should not allow the pastor to know, hey, they will resell me to another person and she will not hear from me again. So the way she screamed, I know that yes, something happened. Some of the dual saw us and they were chasing us because they're like, when they saw the way I was walking, I wasn't walking the proper way because of my left leg has already been affected. And they began to trace us to where the man handed over me to another man.
Then they brought food again, chicken and rice, but I wasn't even hungry. So the guy beat me and beat me that because of my pregnancy I must eat. So I ate the food. After eating the food, then it was night, it was let's say around 11, 12. Then two girls came in. Two girls from one connection house. They were just chewing gums loudly and stuff. So I explained my situation to those girls. Maybe since they were familiar with that area, if they could help me. They did not even answer me that I should better relax myself, that anything I want to happen, let it happen. So I could not sleep. So it was just one room like that. They laid 3 mattresses. They were sleeping with those 2 girls beside me. I could not even cry, but I was in shock. Then one guy came. I heard his name, Abdallah. The guy came, slept with me, he beat me and beat me and beat me. Then his friend came. They were 3 numbers like that. They slept with me till the following morning. So when I woke up that morning, I was like, no, this thing's not going to happen here again. I'd rather die than this shit happening again. So in the morning, I tried to look around. That place is just like forest. There was no escape route. Then they took me back to the first place. They took me to Sherika. So when I got there, I met one of those prostitutes again. I said, is there any way you can help me? I need to leave this place. I'm pregnant. This thing cannot happen to me. If they sell me now, they will forcefully abort this baby. I might lose my life or anything. The girl said that I should just accept my fate. I said, fine and good. So I went to the bathroom because I wanted to freshen up. I went to the bathroom. I broke the mirror with my hand. Then I tore myself. I tore myself in 6 places. The scars are still here. I tore myself so that there could be blood. Then I rubbed the blood on my stomach. And I went to meet them that I'm bleeding, that they should take me to the hospital. They said I should wait. These guys went. They bought Panadol extra that I should use. I collected it. I put it in my pocket. So I would go to the bathroom again. I would dip my hand in my mouth to do as if I want to throw up. So they could just allow me out of the room. As I was going out of the room, I was observing the location. I was trying to look at the fence. Where can I jump? Who is around and stuff like that. They didn't know. So I was just like that, pretending I was very sick. They did not take me to hospital. They did not do anything. So when it was night, those guys came again. Those Nigerians and Nigerian guys, they were close to 20. They were eating. And they were still talking about, the person that was supposed to buy me was delaying bringing the cash the following day. So they bought food, I ate food. And I told them that the weather is too cold, that I need to sleep. So they gave me 2 blankets to cover myself because I was pretending to be shivering. So they took me to a room, the place where they charge their phones. Then I tried to cover myself and stuff. I started praying because I couldn't cry. I only told God one thing, that it's not my plan to die in this country. My mom does not know what's happening. My father, nobody knows what's happening. I have to live here. As in, any way you want to do it, you've been answering my prayer since, you must answer this one. I kept praying inside me. I kept praying and kept praying. Then rain started falling. And Libya, it hardly rains. It rains like maybe 3 or 4 times a year. It hardly rains. Then rain started falling. So those guys were happy that rain was falling. All of them went inside the rain. They were shooting guns. They were happy. They were dancing. They even forgot that someone was inside. Everybody was happy that day because of the rain. Then the rain now, towards 9:30, the rain stopped again. Then I started my prayer, God, this rain is a sign that I must live here. If you want me to really live here and no one is going to shoot me or anything is going to happen to me, let this rain fall again. Then this rain was heavier. That's how they started shooting everywhere. There was noise. People were happy and stuff. I was like, one of the phones they were charging. That's how I took the phone. I opened the window, I jumped. The shoe I was wearing was kind of high. I removed the shoe. I was running till I got to the fence. I jumped the fence. I don't even know how I did it.
First of all, I saw this wood-like boat constructed with a Yamaha engine, this type of Yamaha engine. We also see balloon. This balloon this is some have been deflected, you know. Then the ones that I would like that they have constructed that they put people, you know, you see them there. So, and you pay before you enter. You know, and I asked them if this is what is going to take me to Europe. And I found out that the arrangement was not, there was no guarantee that you could get to where you're going. They would tell you that when you enter, you just go like this. You have to move yourself. You have to help yourself through the water. You understand? So maybe somebody who will claim that I can use it. I can operate the engine. Will be there. Then we'll be directing. They will tell you take like this. If you take like this, you may end up in another country or in another place. So you continue, and the intention is when you get to a particular place, they will give you. Then it was Turaya. I don't know what they use now. You know, they will give you a phone that if you get to a place, you run into danger, call this line, and the line will come for rescue because they know that definitely you are going to run into danger. So I think I couldn't carry it, and the risk was too much. And having known where I was coming from, and I couldn't stand it anymore. There was no point going to commit suicide when I was already free. Because getting to Libya was like freedom for me.
So from Tripoli we proceed to Mistrata. So getting to Mistrata, he took me to his family's house. I saw his wife and his son. Then I told the wife that, please, can I stay in their house for some days? I need to recover myself. I'm not feeling fine. The wife said no, that I'm made to do the work, or they are taking me to Connection's house. And lo and behold, they took me to Connections, and that very day, I was so in pain. I met other ladies. I met a particular lady that finished paying her money. Then they were like, okay, what is the problem? I now narrated my story to the couples, and they promised me that, okay, well, if they said that they should take me to the police now, their own lives is at stake. So they will not take me to the police, but they will teach me how to speak Arab also. And they said they will not allow me to do the work. Meanwhile, before I know, I felt so sick there. I was even scared. So the accident we had in desert now confirmed what my neck bone, one of the bones shifted already. So that was when I got to that place. I noticed that the neck bone had already shifted. I cannot move my neck, migraine headache, everything was just like coming up. They called the man. The man asked them, how much have I made? They said no. They said okay, they shall allow me to die. But God was so faithful. The Connection girls that were there contributed money with the couples. Then they invited the doctor. The man is a Ghanaian, and he began the treatment, injection, and he tested me all different types of tests. I said everything's okay. Along the line, a Benin young man came to me and like he loved me, want to marry me. And I told him that since he loved me, want to marry me, I learned that some persons are looking for me. If you can just go and tell them where I am, I'm going to marry him there and there. So he promised me that okay, he will definitely find out. And lo and behold, he find out, he met the Oduduwa, and he let them know that the young girl they were looking for, see where she's staying, blah blah blah. Then the Oduduwa keep on disturbing Gani about me. After 2 weeks plus, Gani came down to Mistrata and some of my things, the gift people have been giving me, and like, where is the money I make? He said, just get it. Nobody agreed to sleep with her. I'm like, what kind of a girl is this? So that's how the only option he have left is to call the pastor and the larger back to Nigeria that the one of the girls they gave him did not work well with this bad markets. So he has actually wanted to tell them to pay 500,000 within 3 days. So when he sees that they won't be able to meet up with 500,000, he asked the pastor and the larger to pay 80,000 naira to his account.
I kept running. I was seeing light far. So I was just tracing the light till I got to the road, and it was raining. This time it was past 10 already. There were no cars again. So I kept running because I know that the moment they notice that I'm gone, they will come after me. So fortunately for me, I saw one Hilux coming. I stopped the Hilux. The Hilux did not stop. All the cars that were going, I tried stopping them. None of them stopped. Then one of the Hilux just turned and came. It was like Shinada. That there was a guy that kidnapped me. They should please help me. He said I should enter the car. I didn't even know that those ones two are kidnappers. So I now entered the car again. So they now drove me to the nearby police station that the police should look at me. That did I escape from them? The police looked at me. They said no, I did not escape from them, but they should drop me so that they can know what happened. I said no, that I don't want to stay with police. That all of them are the same thing. That they are going to sell me. That they sold my sisters. So those guys now said they are not dropping me. That they will find out what happened. The moment we just left the police station, the phone I stole from them started ringing. Shit, that was how they collected the phone from me. They now picked the call. Those guys now said they should return me back, that I'm one of their wives, that I stole money from them and ran away with the money. The moment they heard the call, I just stripped myself naked. I didn't even mind. I just removed everything. I said let them search me from the beginning to the end. If they see any money on me, so they now search me. They did not say, they only saw the drugs. I now told them this is the drugs those people gave me to use, and I'm pregnant. They should please help me. And I said okay, I should find that I should call any of my family to bring 1,000 dinar before they can release me. I was like, there's no money. I told you they kidnapped two of my sisters. So I now started calling one of my, the only person I know the number of, and I started calling. And when I was even going, I went with my smaller phone. I didn't go with the big phone. But when I was at home, I gave an instruction, nobody should pick my call. They don't touch my phone. So I called my number. Because of that instruction, no one could pick my number. So I now called Adiola, called, sent her a text. She should please pick my call. She was not an now pick. And I listened to her, see what's happening now. And that one cannot even speak Arab. And she should please, the father of my child, that one speaks Arab very well. That I should call that one should call this number now. So that one now called. Now spoke to those guys that I'm his wife, that they should not touch me or anything, that is going to bring the money. That was already late. It was getting to 12 o'clock then. That is very far that the following day is going to bring the money for them. They said fine. Okay, so those guys now said they will drive me to where I'm going to sleep. That when they bring the money the following day, they will let me go. I said okay. As we're just driving, I don't even know what entered their mind. They just said they are just going to they are going to take me to a fruit stand. Let me sleep there. I should take 10 dinner. The following day I should go to my house. I didn't believe them. So they just drove me to that fruit stand. The guy left. One of them now came back that they are just trying to help me because of the bambino and the baby that I'm carrying. I said fine. I said I should give him a blowjob. I did not even think about it twice. I gave him the blowjob. And the moment he left, I stood up again because I knew there's a possibility he will come back again to harass me. And now trek. In Nigeria, the way they build their houses is always staircase. You know this step, you can always sleep on that. That was why I just sneaked into a compound. My head tie, I laid it and I slept there. The following morning, went to 5 o'clock, they started this prayer. Just stood up like that. Went to the main road. I was trying to break things and none of them even stood because my clothes was dirty. I was looking so tattered. That was how later one man now stopped and I said, okay, please, I'm going to sharing here. He took me to my house. When I got home, everybody was shouting, everybody were just shouting, everybody was happy and stuff like that. That has never happened before. That no one has ever escaped from kidnappers.
I was always staying out of where people were staying because of the experience I had in Saba. But if you stay in ghetto or stay in a hotel, you will be busted. And when you are busted, you are taken to a detention house, you may not last. Most people who during my time were taken to detention centers died. They collapsed and died. Some did not return the same. Some had mental issues before they returned back. So immediately I got that information, I was always avoiding all those until I got to Tripoli after about 6 months. When I got to Zara side and I decided to return back. You know, like I said, by returning back, I didn't suffer much. you know, and that was where I began to even think about having a decision of creating a kind of a revolution against this issue of trans-Sahara migration, trafficking, and all this.
When I got to Mr. Zuara back, he did not allow me to do the work. So, and he said, after 3 days, if they did not pay him the money, he's going to send me to another person, and so that he will not lose. But in the evening of the 3rd day, he got an alert, and that same very day, he handed over me to the Oduduwa people. The Oduduwa people, the following day, they interviewed me, asked me how did I get to Libya. I explained everything, and like that same pastor have trafficked no less than 72 thereabouts to Libya, including our cousin to this place. That should not spare the woman. Everything it takes to fight the woman, and the Alaja, I must do it. The Oduduwa asked me not to spare the pastor because of the life she has wasted already. So, and I promised her that no problem. If I can get back to Nigeria, I will definitely retaliate. So, the Oduduwa people now asked the man that brought me Agani to prepare my travel paper back to Nigeria. Then the one that rates me at the should pay me that same $3,000 US, $3,500 US back to me. So, but the deadline came, you couldn't meet up. You could only pay $1,500 US. That was what he could pay. Then back in Nigeria, my mom have already get in touch with NAPTIP. NAPTIP have already arrested the pastor and the Alaja. November 5th, I was returned back to Nigeria through the air by the help of the Oduduwa people, and they told me that they have never in their life helped anybody back to Nigeria like this. In as much you enter the journey, that is all. But in my own case, my case is different. That whatever my mom and I is serving, we should serve that God very well. That I am the first person they are rescuing back to Nigeria, and I should be careful with the people I mingle with or I meet. Not everybody I should trust. With the trauma and everything, I was so thankful to God. The time to travel back to Nigeria came up, and I successfully got to Nigeria. Then landed, waiting for NAPTIP already waiting for me to receive me already. So instead of me going back to my family's house, the NAPTIP people took me to their office. They took me to their shelter. From there, I was sheltered and counseling upon counseling. Then from there, they noticed that I was not feeling too well. Then they took me to Ikoyi Military Hospital. The doctors were attending to my case because it was so terrible. I could not walk. My left leg was already affected, my waist, and they began the treatment. I spent some months attending to the hospital with drugs, with the help of NAPTIP, and with a lot of counselings, a lot of hope, a lot of courage.
We started prayers again and started raising money for those two girls. Before we could get their contact, it was like 2 weeks before we could locate the connection house they were. So they said we should bring like 10,000 now. That was like 1 million. And there was no money because most of us stopped working and everything. So we begged. It was a Benin lady that bought them. It was a Benin lady that was the ringleader. So we begged, and we spoke to some people to talk to her. She now agreed to 800,000. So we controlled money from Nigeria, from family and friends before we built them. They spent 1 month, 14 days before they came back. So after then, I just moved in permanently with the father of my son. I moved in with him. I was still going to work and coming and just trying to maintain, just to be on the low key. So when I was 7 months gone, then this fight happened, and close to my house like this. It was not very far. And Gaza Bengashi, that's the name. So after that fight, because I nearly lost my life, I said, no, the minute I deliver this baby, I'm going back home. Everyone was like, you just wait. I said, no, today there's fight, tomorrow they're arresting, next tomorrow they're kidnapping. All the money we are making, we are still giving it back to them. So I had my baby, and I went to the embassy to register. embassy, they were just doing politics and doing their own. I said that wasn't going to work. Because I just used being in flight in Miami. When my son was close to 4 months, they now called me to come that my flight was ready. And that was how I came back home. December 2017, after 13 months in Libya.
Well, there was not much bitter experience because the rebels were happy that you are even going. They were telling you, the fact that the decision was your own. They were telling them, I was telling them, I'm going, and they saw you that you were going. You know, and the Libyan going through the Sahara Desert, the transportation in the Sahara Desert is controlled. You don't just see vehicle the way you come out at the park and move. You can come to the park and sleep in the park for days. Maybe 5 days before the truck will come and pick you to the next point. You can stay there again before another truck will come and pick you. So I came back with the people I came back with. We came back normally until we got to Nigeria. I told myself that I was not fine. You know, I told myself that I had gotten it wrong. I was not fine. I had been messed up. Then I needed to clean up because when I was returning back, I saw trucks. When I mean trucks, at the point where we were resting, more than 25 trucks were loaded, and all of them were my brothers and sisters from South, Edo and Delta. They were running as if Iki was going to run. You understand? They were showing me time that they need to enter. I said, enter where? I'm coming from there. And nothing is happening there. It's deception. They said no. That they give them time that they will enter, that the boat will soon leave. I said, which boat? When you get there, you see the kind of boat, you have problem. But you see the zeal and the anxiety, the kind of anxious. They were very anxious to leave. You know, I said there's a problem, that there's a gap somewhere.
I went to testify in the court. I won the case. That same year, 2011, August 27, the pastor and the Alaja were sentenced to 21 years in prison. And the NAP people were so proud of me for me to defend, speak, and be able to bring myself out of my shell. So from there, they just picked their interest as one of the ambassadors there. And from there, they took over my responsibility, my going back to school. I was person, finished my secondary school, write my work, write my exam, went to Benin State University, finished, and I graduated.
Father, of course, every crime that we commit, there is a penalty for every crime that we commit. Even in Christendom, there is a penalty. And we go to confession for those who are Christian, who are Catholics. We go to confession, but we have what we call indulgence, because there is a punishment that is attached to every crime, every sin that we commit.
But we need to do more. That more should come from the state itself. The state, the judiciary has to be in place. There should be diligent prosecution of those who have been culprits of human trafficking.
The pastor and Alaja were sentenced to 21 years in prison. I learned that as soon as they were coming out, the pastor died. But the Alaja, I don't really know where about again.
You see, if I were government, and I want to do away with illegal migration, it's not all this lip service or rhetorics that we're doing. First of all, let us fix our economy. You see, I keep saying it. If our economy is good, nobody. I, for instance, am sitting here. For all the money in the world, I don't think I can live in any part of the world. I can go visit and return. But that's because I have a paying job. I have a job that puts food on my table. For somebody who has graduated, say, 3-4 years ago, or who has left secondary school for 6 years, and they've not seen any job, they've not found any job, and somebody comes to them and say there is something in Europe, and that you're going to be getting money in dollars, don't you think the person will jump at it? NAPTIP has facilities, shelters, but those shelters, who are the personnel working there? Do you have psychologists? Do you have social workers? Because you see, by the time these people come back, if you've interacted with them with the way I've interacted with them, you'll find that something has happened to their psyche. Something has happened. People could put on powder and lipstick and they look normal. But something has happened to their soul. And it requires thorough understanding of what it was that happened to them before you can bring them. You're not bringing them to status quo ante, but something may be near to it. Just near to normalcy. They cannot be normal. It's impossible because they can remember. I remember in occasions that I was trying to speak with somebody and intermittently the person would just burst into tears. And at that point, we'll leave. In fact, on a particular day, we had to stop completely. We left. She said she was not doing anymore. 2 days later, she called me. She said because the interview was like a catharsis for her. You know, she wanted to remember everything that happened to her when she was away to see whether she will forget. Because the truth is that if they open their mind, even the madams themselves, most of the madams were retired traffickees. But they were just lucky that many of them got married to white men and they were able to establish themselves and they started bringing people from their place to come and join them to make money for them. But it's not easy. You know what it means to service 13, 14 men a day? Of those 13, 14 men, some of them will be loonies. Many of them are not lawyers and doctors, mind you. Many of them are farm workers, construction workers, laborers, road workers. People who are even smelly. But then because you need their money, you shut your senses to some of these things. If you're a decent person, you will recall. You have the power of recall. And it will do something to your psyche. So you see, society should not condemn. That will be my last word for this. There is no room for condemnation. Society should have empathy. And the only way society can have empathy is to strengthen the organization that law has set up to help those who are survivors. But in doing that, we must have zero tolerance for corruption. Because oftentimes it is corruption that has brought us to where we are. From a tier 1 country to a tier 2 country, back again. It's like we are starting from ground zero. You're talking about Italy. Do you know how many of our girls are in Mali? How many of our girls are in Ouagadougou? That is girls that have no hope. They are in limbo. They left this country because they thought they were going to Europe. But they are somewhere in limbo. They cannot come back. They cannot go forward. So it is a problem for us as a country. And this problem is a problem that the state itself must find a way of sorting out.
And then education. Since human trafficking is basically on women, we don't actually give priority to women education in Africa, in Nigeria. And so these women are forced, they are forced into this labor, into this something they do not even bargain for because there is no education. So lack of proper education, because education remains the key to success, remains the key to unlock so many opportunities.
What does it take? Have we prosecuted the big whips of this thing?
Simple. Fix your economy. The moment your economy is fixed, trafficking will become something of the past. Once the economy is fixed today, and you find that the naira is at par with the dollar, the naira is at par with the euro, I will tell you 72 hours most Nigerians will return. Even not only the issue of trafficking, even professionals, brain drain. You find that a number of Nigerians who have left these shores will return overnight because it will no longer be lucrative for them to continue to stay. I mean, staying abroad is not fantastic because you'll be vulnerable to things like racism, discrimination. It's not uhuru for them who live here to go there to live. But the truth is that it pays them because the little money they make, once they bring the money home and they change into the national currency, they have plenty of money. So the risks they are taking is what we are all seeing. But once you fix your economy, you find that a number of things will take their normal shape. Overnight, you don't even need to be doing all these things. There will be no preaching, no road shows, no enlightenment campaign, no Oba making a pronouncement. Everything will just return to normal. I've encountered a lady who finds it absolutely impossible to sleep the way you and I can sleep. You know, you do your work, you get tired, you put your head on the pillow and you sleep. This lady cannot sleep except she's given a certain injection. Now, in her own situation, you know, it was just one of those happenstances. She wanted to walk fast to pay off her debt. So, in addition to servicing the normal clients of 13, 14 people a day, she decided to get involved in a porn movie. And on this particular occasion, they told her they were going to pay her $150 an hour. And she agreed, but that she would be latched onto the bed during the filming. And of course, she agreed because that was good money. So she was latched onto the bed, and she said when the door got opened, rather than a human being, it was a gorilla that entered. And by the time the gorilla was done with her, she had passed out. In fact, everything inside her were damaged.
There is hope. Indeed, there is hope for survivors of human trafficking and irregular migration. But all hands need to be on deck to do this. There's a need to educate the community. There's a need to support these individuals.
There is hope. No situation is hopeless. Once there's life, there's hope. But then, our destiny is in our hands. The gods can only help us when we decide to help ourselves. Anyone who is a survivor, haven't survived, and you've returned back to source, okay? It is now up to you to key into rehabilitation, to see how you can rebuild yourself.
There are people who have been trafficked and they come out from it, and you see them promoting something that is worthwhile, and there is hope for them. Everybody has hope, and that is what we preach. That is the gospel of Christ, that we should preach hope to the people instead of them to feel dejected or feel rejected because something has happened to them.
Yes, persons who have been trafficked, there's hope for them, there's life for them, and there's a lot of love for them.